guest at the HQ, and this is the second episode. And today I'm sitting here with Thomas Arnesen. As usual, we've placed ourselves in front of the B3. I have baked some bread for the occasion, and what you just heard was a sample from our session that we did earlier today. You'll be, of course, hearing more from that later on in the show. But first of all, welcome, Thomas Arnesen.
Thank you very much, Andreas.
So nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
But it's not the first time. It's not even the second. Maybe you've been here a couple of times. I think you were you were here on the very first live streams that I did.
Was I?
Yes. So we live in the same town of Uppsala, Sweden, and each year they have like a cultural event on the second Saturday of September.
Yeah.
And on the first Corona, like in 2020, the first Corona year, so that was the first cultural night you couldn't do concerts, ordinary concerts. So I did my first live streams from this place.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you were actually on two of them.
I see.
First we did with your band.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now. Yeah.
And then you were like you guest starred in the last stream, which was actually the same people playing with you and me and Daniel.
Yeah.
But of course, we go back way further than that.
Yes, I believe we met in, was it 2001?
No,
was it 2002?
Yes, I think it 2002. And when you started your band?
Yes, I was forming a band, a blues band, which still exists, and I was looking for an organ player. I had been playing with another organ player for several years, but that was more the jazzier stuff, so to speak. So I wanted to put together a blues band. Contemporary blues, so to speak, and I wanted to have organ and piano. And I was working at a school outside town as an ensemble teacher that year, and one of my pupils told me that, this guy Andreas has moved here. He's from Borlänge. He's a brilliant organ player, and he is here working or studying to some sort of IT technician or some. Yeah. You finish your story, because I'm going to tell it from my perspective after. All right. So anyway, I was looking for an competent organ player to form a group, and someone told me about Andreas. So I think I got the telephone number from that pupil. And I phoned him, and I visited him in his student room, which was occupied by a colossal piece of furniture, which I learned was a Hammond A100. Colossal thing. So we played a little in his room, and he impressed me very much. He did, and I asked him, "Would you like to join my orchestra?" And he would like that, he told me. And that was the beginning of the band, so to speak. Yeah. The Arnesen Blues Band. Yeah.
And so I have two things just that I have to from your story. You mentioned that you'd be playing with another organ player. Well, it's not just any other organ player.
No, it's not.
And this is because it's Kjell Öhman, and Swedes, of course, know who he is. Many abroad, maybe not all, but he's, by many considered, the organ player of Sweden. Yeah. And this is because that's where I heard you the first time.
You told me.
Because I got one of the first records I got when I started playing the organs in my late teens, and it was a few years after you've done. There was a record out live at the Pawn Shop, a place in Stockholm called Stampen.
The Pawn Shop.
The Pawn Shop, yes. and that was my first, one of the first records that I like, that I would listen to, and you're playing there, so like that's where I got to know you musically, so to speak. And that's some years before. Then I was still living in Borlänge, but then I moved to Uppsala and I was studying. And at that time in 20 years, so it's 20 years anniversary this year.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Calls for celebration. But when. So I remember because I was studying like computer science, programming stuff, and I was sitting in one of the computer rooms there, doing you're sitting there with some kind of caffeine beverage and just doing that kind of thing. Okay. And the phone rings and it's like hello, and hello, this is Thomas Arnesen. And I was, what? And I mean I was so I just out of the blue, and it was wow. And I remember, and I was playing with some friends of mine at the time, and I remember them, one of them saying like, "Well, Andreas, welcome to the world of professional musicians."
Oh yeah, I'm flattered.
But I would say that's because as like for me it was like when you're because I will always be, I guess, the youngest member of your band.
Probably.
Still today.
We hope so.
But to have that, I mean, that's the tradition to have, to be like picked up by.
It was the same for me when I was playing with Öhman.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bewildered and flabbergasted and shocked and afraid. So it was the singer in Öhman's group, which was called Organ Grinders, Öhman Organ Grinders. The vocalist, Claes Jansson, he recommended me to Kjell. Okay. And I had been playing with the vocalist for, since the 70s or something, 73 or something like that. So he recommended me, and I was very much afraid, but okay, let's play or sink, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. So the situation you described now was exactly the same. Yeah. I was the younger one.
Yeah.
Picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, and I'm going to mention that as well, because if you watch the streams and the videos coming out from the HQ, so of course you've seen Claes Jansson, and he will be a guest. I haven't set the exact episode, but he will be a guest on this pod as well. And we of course, and we've been playing. I mean, we played with Claes just last weekend. Yeah,
it turned out that this group, this Arnesen Bluesband, is nowadays accompanying Claes in a couple of productions, which we have toured with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while we're speaking of Arnesen Bluesband, so let me, because I feel that like one of the most important things what we're doing here is that like. I want to, for those who don't know who you are and what you do, so let me just, I'll put some links where you can see, I mean, Arnesen Bluesband have a YouTube channel, there's some great videos there, and a website, and I'll put some links in the description, maybe on the screen, so if, for anyone who wants to get in touch or listen more to the band, get in touch or anything, you can see that.
Great.
So and that's I would say that this blues band has been my like journey into blues.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know much about blues. I don't know if I do to this point, but
well, you do, I think.
but still, I think when we started, it's I've really learned a lot about the genre.
Should be said as well that the blues we are playing in that band, it's not very much of the so-called root blues. It has a little jazzy touch, and I mean we use in our own compositions and in our interpretations of old blues standards, we may put another chord to the song and so to say expand it to a more modern, not modern, but a wider musical range than the usual 12-bar 3 chords songs.
Yeah, and I mean it spans. I mean you will have jazz standards that we do in our way sometimes
in a bluesy way.
A bluesy way, but I mean not but not always that even. I'm thinking like we do September in the Rain, for example.
No, you're right. You're right there.
But mostly, and I really love that.
Me too. That's why I wanted this group to be able to do that.
Yeah, and also with the 2 keyboards to have, so that I'll play the organ, and usually I just play the organ, and there's another keyboard player. Anders Forsberg, and he'll play mostly the Wurlitzer piano, and sometimes an acoustic, or
In that way, you can sound almost like a big band occasionally in some tunes. If you arrange it, the keyboards together doing gestures, it sounds like it's almost like a big band. People tell me, which was the thought.
And you can like depending on what like if I lay back and the piano, like you can shape the music, whether if it's more organ based or Wurlitzer based or guitar based or
exactly. It's a huge freedom. It is, and the only vad heter nackdel? Vad fan heter det?
Con, if you play pros and cons.
Okay,
con.
the only con is that we are...
Downside,
Yeah, we are so many people that we're not cheap.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, so sometimes it'll be a quartet instead of a quintet.
But depending on the size of the room and the stage and so on, and the money.
Yeah, that's the reality we have to adapt to. There's much more to say, but I'm thinking whether we should play a song, and because I'm curious about how this bread turned out. And this is like my I wait until the first song to cut the bread, so I don't think I can wait anymore now. Any longer.
Let's play the first song then.
But and I would say the first song kind of relates to what we were talking about, because what we'll do is a jazz standard, but we'll do it in a bluesy way.
Correct.
And I would say also that this is, and also if you haven't seen it, we did the group that's playing here. We did a live stream in November, and it was the day before Father's Day, and I was supposed to, or I did visit my father the day after, and I wanted to play the songs for him, and then so of course a natural choice was to do a song for my father, but we did it as a shuffle for my father. So that was kind of another things to that I really wanted to record again.
Okay.
For this pod. So it's so that'll be the first song, a song for my father. But first, let's see. I have to admit, I screwed up a little when I baked this morning. I forgot to turn the heat. So it's really, really crispy, this crust. But I think it'll be okay. Let's see. Yeah, it has some nice. I think this. This is nice.
Yeah. So
What do you think?
perfectly okay.
So anyway, we're gonna enjoy some bread, and you can listen to a song from my father. Here it comes. Welcome back. That was a song for my father, and it's really nice playing it in that way, in the shuffle version.
Yes, it is. I haven't played it much before, I must admit. Perhaps one or two times as a jazz standard, but it suits this format really.
Yeah. So I remember just one thing also that I forgot to comment on before that I just have to say, and that was when you mentioned you visit me in my dorm room.
Yeah.
And right, I mean, I actually I didn't remember that until now when you said it.
Okay.
But that was like I just made that was my first HQ. I mean, I've always liked to have this place where you bring people, meet, and now this was of course for a like business purpose. To you had to check me out to see if I would fit in your band.
Yeah, who you were and so on.
Yeah. But I used to have a lot of sessions in my dorm room.
You did.
I had all kinds of instrumentalists, bass players, trumpet players. What is it called? I don't even know the name. Nyckelharpa.
I don't know either. It's a Swedish folk instrument.
Yeah,
it's sort of a violin you hold down low, play with a bow and press different keys.
Yeah.
To play the melody.
And saxophone. I know sometimes also because I also had a Hammond, but I also had a Rhodes. So at one point I had another keyboard, a piano player also, and usually it was okay with the neighbors. Sometimes they would complain, especially those who would live not in the same corridor, but those who would live above or something. But I was at that time. I think I was on my maybe third room or something. So by that time, I've seen to it that I have one on the bottom floor.
Okay.
So I didn't have, because I didn't want any neighbors below me.
Yeah.
Because that happened once when I was so I was sitting playing, and I think I was on the 5th floor or something, and late one Friday night, I think, or something, and the door rings, and like a young lady in just his robe, she stands there by the door and says, "Can you please stop?" and then when I moved out, I went down. I went down to her. I rang on her door and I said that, "Okay, I'm moving now, so now you don't have to deal with me anymore." And then she asked me, "What were you doing in there?" And I would say, "Yeah, well, I'm playing the organ." "Oh, I thought you had a drum kit."
Oh,
because I think it's because of the pedals.
Yeah.
So because the pedals pound the floor.
Okay.
So make it sound like maybe yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So from that moment, I always have apartments and on the bottom floor. It's the same now.
Okay. I seem to remember, though, when I visit you, there were a couple of stairs. I think I may be wrong.
No, there were stairs, but the thing is that there were no people living below. There was just a pizza place.
Oh, okay.
And they weren't. Yes. So. But yeah, how nice memories. Because also, speaking of, I am a hopeless nostalgic. I like anniversaries. I like looking back. I like to see, I think it's nice to look back and just how did we look back then? How did we sound back then? And how things have developed.
Some tunes have stayed. I think we play them as we played them in the beginning.
Yeah,
I think so.
And because I was just earlier today, this morning, and I went up and I have this old folder with old song lists and stuff, and your lead sheets and stuff, and I have. Now I thought I would have the very first song list.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I did, because some of them aren't dated. But I found some dating back to at least 04 and 05.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like.
Is it Funky Mama #1?
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah. It's an instrumental written by Danny Gatton, I think, a guitarist.
Yeah.
So we usually open up with Funky Mama. It's a good opener. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's usually if you watch my streams, I think for most most musicians, it's you want to have want to get started in get going in a
an
nice
easy way.
Yeah.
sort of relaxed, but get going.
Also, that's because I remember also when we did I think we did there's a stream also with a blues band from May last year. Mm-hmm. Not the complete blues band because there was only one keyboard player, but still. And I remember I made a little speech there somewhere in the middle. But the thing is, with this Funky Mama,
yeah,
you know, when you have a band that's been playing for so long, you know each other very well, and to have that, you know. It's such you got such a sense, a feeling of calm. I mean, you can be maybe sometimes you're nervous before or something, and then you hear those, and it's like, yeah, I got this.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It is.
And sometimes it's like, no, this time we're not going to start with Funky Mama.
What? Oh. yeah. I've tried that a few times because I want to shake myself.
Yeah. You need to do that, of course, as well. Yeah. But that's. I mean, I think that's when you, or just generally, like when you have these, when you've been playing together for so long. Wow, what I mean, how you comfort each other without just being there. You know that you feel safe.
Yeah, it's a feeling of total comfort and safety.
And you know that whatever happens we'll.
Whatever happens, no problem.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So yeah. Okay, so I thought also one you know, another part of my speaking of the band from my perspective, and in this case, I think I can speak for most of the members of the band, but I would say that you possess many, if not all, of the qualities that you want in a band leader.
I try to I try to do what I would want someone who leads me to do. Yeah.
Because
that's correct.
There's always, I mean, you always have good sheets for the music. You know, new songs. Here you go. Okay. Always like you know, with ideas too. I mean, we do it like this or like this, and. But also, you're not a dictator.
Exactly. I mean, things occur.
Yeah.
Maybe we could try this one instead in that place there, and we try it, and it's a living process. Rehearsing.
Yes. Yeah. And that's. I mean, so you always. So that's. I mean, to be able to, you know, listen to suggestions, take suggestions, but also not to, you know, I mean, you will also, I mean, if you don't, like, no, this doesn't work. We do it like this. Like when you need to, you'll like.
Yeah, but the important thing is to feel when you're in a band that you're listened to.
Yeah. That
you're seen and everybody's opinions has a value, and you must realize that.
But and I mean, when you put it like this, I mean, that's what human relations.
Of course, it is. And as you mentioned, as I'm the one coming with the tune, I'm the one coming with the sheets. So we try different solutions. We try this, we try that. Then someone has to say, we do it like that.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Yeah.
But you try everything first.
Yeah.
Of course.
And also, you know, when you, I mean, because I would also say that there's you. Okay, I'm throwing some love at you here now. You just have to take it.
I'll try. I'll do my very best.
But I think it's important, or it's worth mentioning, because I think I mean all people playing in bands have have like experiences of different. There's different there's variations.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. But also, like when you have, because you have, like in our band, so it's you have three. There's three main soloists. It's you and me and Anders.
The pianist.
Yes, yes. And you are very, you always see to it that we get our time in the spotlight, so to speak.
That's very important, really very important, in order to get joy into to what's happening. Yeah, that you must have something to be nervous about, and achieve it and master it, if you want to feel joy in the process, not just being a piece of furniture. And I have no problem with people trying to lead me in some other process. It wouldn't have to be a musical process. I'm as long as I feel that the person who is leading me is capable. And if I that's the most important thing. I mean, there can be no prestige. There can only be, I know this, and I want to listen to all of you. I want to hear your opinions. Yes. But I also know this, and so that's very important. I mean, if I'm playing with someone who don't know what he's talking about, and leading a process, then I pretend to do what that person says, and I do it like what I think should be done anyway. And when it thus sounds good, that man or woman says, "Yeah, I told you so. This is the way you should do it." So it's very important to know your stuff. In order to get respect and listen to people.
And I mean, and these are, I mean, again, just, these are principles you can apply in
every aspect of life, really.
where you're dealing with people.
With people,
And for I would say also, like, so when I was 20 years ago, like I was probably more, I took every chance I got to shine, now I got
and that's nice. I like that.
But now it is, but still it's. I mean, you now then you have like when it's you learn well. You get a feeling for now. Okay, but this is here. You want to step back a little, and here's my spot, and here's just more balance. To have like also to let go of to the ego, because it's also like to have that I will let everyone else shine as well. But I think yes, but that was a process, I think, in the beginning, because I was so I want to do.
But who isn't? I mean, when you're younger, and it's nature.
Yes.
Really.
But then also, I just thought I'd mention one thing. I don't know if you remember this, but. Okay. So I found some song lists from. So we're going on this tour up north, and it's 3 cities, they're called Sundsvall, Härnösand, and Örnsköldsvik. And we did the same tour. We've done the same tour a couple of times, but I think the first time was in the spring of 2005, I think.
Okay.
Because it probably wasn't before, but I found song lists dating to the spring of 2005 in those cities.
Yeah. Okay.
So it should have been then, and I remembered, and it has to be then that we had a conversation after the gigs. You hang in talking, but and then I got some tough love from you.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but you said something to the extent of, because you were all you used to dress like with jackets, nice. You were more nicely dressed, and I was more casually dressed.
I see.
Yeah, and then I don't know how you formulated it, but you implied that well, like that I could change. But the thing was, but the thing, you saved it in such a nice way. Or I think you were you weren't out of line at all. But the way you said it was that you're too good. You play too good to to not look as good as you could. Like you should. You think you thought that, okay, you should look the level on which you play.
All right.
So that's, I can buy that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is fairly important, I think.
And you are for your. I think. At the same time, you would. We had this. We had this discussion that, because I think I was making I'm so much younger than you. I can be a little different, and we had a discussion about it.
Okay.
But I feel that when it's sunk in, because it's easy to feel maybe attacked or something,
Yeah. Yes.
But once it sinks in, and it's like, oh well, he has a point.
Mm. I think I got it originally from No, now I'm thinking wrongly. I think I've always thought of how do you look. At least since I was 20 years or something like that. Yeah. Before that you had, you could play in the clothes you woke up in, so to speak. Yeah. So anyway, but I heard one thing. A friend of mine, Ingmar Bergman, not the Swedish filmmaker, a drummer actually. And he's also have been the managing director of vad heter Stickan Andersson the stipendium, the
Polar Prize.
Polar Prize, yeah, Polar Records. Yeah. It was Ingmar was a period managing director for Polar Records. So anyway, he said to me, and he says really a lot of things, but he's not here, so I'll stay at that. But he said one funny thing. It's a saying that has been said by Paul Anka's wife to Paul Anka, I think, or some other great American singer, artist. Paul, you should dress very nice because people hear what they see.
Yeah. No, but I have a great. Okay, I have to. That's really interesting, and I'm gonna. Okay, yeah. But I think so I agree with that totally, and I have proof.
You do?
Yes.
Interesting.
In another way that we're talking about, but first just. But I think also to get dressed. It's a part of preparing for a gig, to go into that, get your game face on. That's just part of the process.
Oh, it is.
But for me, playing the Hammond, people definitely hear what they see.
Yes, they do.
Because if I bring this one, it doesn't matter what I play. It'll sound awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a B3. Yeah. And then you have then it's a sliding scale. If I bring like a smaller keyboard type thingy that hasn't this wooden piece of, and people can see, okay, that's not a B3. Already then, they've decided how, in a way, some have already decided how this will sound.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's, I mean...
Definitely, yeah. You hear what you see.
Yeah.
in a certain degree, of course.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, okay, so there was a little about the band from some other perspectives. But then thought I'd mention also that. So the three of us playing here today, and it's not the first time we play either. No. But it's, I don't know whether to call it a trio, or it's been kind of a background project to, like, we've done gigs, but
one or two,
some recordings there. I mean, there are
and some streams. Yeah.
But if you go to, like, on this channel, and if you go back to, for example, I think our first recording was from like 2013 or something, and we play a couple of tunes. I think It's You or No One, and
I remember that.
Tenor Madness.
I think so. Yeah, it was those two.
So they're out there. You can listen to that. Also, we did a recording in, a couple of years ago, maybe in 2018 or something. We played this Tribal Tech tune.
Yeah. I love that
Nightclub.
Tune. Yes, I love that tune.
So that video is also on this channel, so check that out. So it's and of course you're also playing on one of my records.
Yes, the first one.
But we're gonna get back to that, I think, because so let's listen to the next song, and that'll be a tune called B3 Boogie. And this is a tune that it was in the spring of 2020, and I just got this place, and I was sitting here, just jamming, rehearsing, no gigs, no, coronaing, if you can make that a verb, I don't know. And I got this idea, and I recorded this, kind of composed and recorded this B3 Boogie, and I did it on a solo organ. And that is a clip that really took off at some point later, but it's got a couple of 100,000 views now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and still people are discovering it and commenting and stuff. But that's definitely a tune that is great for a trio setting like this.
Yes.
To have the drums, to have the a guitar as well. So really nice to do it. The three of us.
Yeah.
So let's listen to that. We'll have some more bread. I forgot to ask you, how was the bread?
It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Despite the overcooking.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, let's listen to B3 Boogie. The B3 Boogie, now in a trio version. So yeah, speaking about this trio, so when I did, now let's see, it's 6 years ago today.
Is it?
That I released, that I released my first solo album, but it had been it was long in the making. It was a long process before it was finalized, and it took me quite a while to figure out like how to do it and how to, because I didn't have my own band at the time. I didn't have something that this is the Andreas Hellkvist trio or whatever. And I had a bunch of songs that been around for almost since I started playing. Some of them, and then like the span of the repertoire was all the way from songs I wrote almost in the first year after I started playing the organ, and to quite recent compositions. And I wanted to, like, I felt that one single group couldn't like capture everything that I wanted to do, and I thought it'd be a nice way to have some different people to play on different songs. And so Daniel, who's playing drums here today, he's playing drums on the whole record. But then I had 3 different guitar players, and there were a couple of blues tunes, and so the obvious choice then was to have you play on them. And so we can just here's the record, and I'll put links and stuff in the description, maybe on the screen, and you can check it out. It's available both physically and on streaming platforms. But I wanted to I think it's an interesting dynamic also when, like in that situation, the roles are reversed. Suddenly I'm the leader, and that's interesting because that's maybe because when we, like, at that point I was, I think, ready to go into that role. But since coming from that when earlier when I was younger, and like you were in a way so I don't know if I could have done it earlier, because it's you have to grow into that to be able to, I mean, as you spoke of earlier, you have to assume that role with confidence.
Yeah, and it's sort of a process going on whether you want it or not.
Yeah,
so to speak.
And also, I mean, because when we've worked together, so you have, like, before that almost, you have always been like the leader, and so just to it was, I wouldn't say it was strange, but it took some time getting used to just, okay, now I'm calling the shots.
Okay.
This is my thing.
I see. But, I've been there earlier with Kjell Öhman, for instance.
Yeah. No, but I just think it's those are like interesting dynamics.
Yet again, it's human. It's a human process. I mean, you don't want to call the shots just because of calling the shots. I mean, you want to call the shots when you know what you want to.
Yes. Yeah.
Happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and though there. So you play on 3 songs, and I have to mention two of them actually also. So we relating to B3 Boogie, which is like a clip that I played solo organ, which then now we did as a band. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's the same thing with 2 of the other songs that you play. There's one called the Old Gal Blues, for example.
Yeah.
And as you might remember, the theme is not really a melody. It's
yes, it feels like a solo.
Yes,
and when you listen to it.
It was, and it was a clip that was recorded at like the Swedish Hammond office, and just 4 bars. I would play first single note lines, and then I do a block chord thing, 2 choruses each, 1.5 minutes. But that clip was. That is so far my greatest hit, I would say.
It's really
because it's collect. I think it's up in like close to at least 500,000 views.
Okay.
And because there was something with it that there's the sound and it's a good, especially the block part of the solo. Very, and I would say, speaking of Öhman, it's very inspired by Öhman's block chords and Anyway, but then
one question: do you have the rights for those 90 seconds?
I would say. I mean, I haven't stolen any.
No, I mean, since it's 500,000 streams.
Yeah, well, I don't get. The thing is, it's not on my channel, so I don't get any revenue from that.
Okay.
But since now I've recorded the song, I'm the streams from our recording.
Yeah. Okay.
I will benefit from, but they're not far as many yet. But yeah, and it's the same thing with another song called "Up and Away," and that's another clip that I have on my channel, and that's this groove, and I just more of upbeat gospel groove, and that's also I had to, I did this practically an improvisation over. I just found a thing. Oh, this sounds fun. I'll do something with that. And then I had to go analyze it afterwards and figure out, okay, what the hell was I doing, and try to make a song of it.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, those two, and those two were they were your songs.
Yes. Yeah.
And they, I mean, because they really fit you as well as a guitar player.
Yeah.
But then what we did today was actually the third song.
Yes. That you,
which is a tune that I was finished quite close to recording, and this Headin Downtown is called. How do you? I just had the idea for it to have like this, you have this bass that just goes a boom 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 boom. I like that.
Yeah.
Simple. I had really hard time with me and Daniel, like when we rehearsed, and I was like, no extraneous notes, just simple. Almost no, only play fourth notes or something.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a night. Oh.
And also, I remember you mentioned that you got the title from a line in some lyrics my wife has written.
Oh, yeah.
One of the tunes we play in the Bluesband.
Yes.
Yeah.
Headin Down, but that's because it's really it's describes the feeling of the music.
Yeah.
It's a Friday night song.
Yeah, and we're heading downtown.
Yeah.
That's a nice line. Yeah. A nice title. Says it all.
And and I would say that why not mention your tune is called "Walking with My Baby."
Yeah, which is really the same thing. We're walking downtown. Yeah,
and that's a song that usually it can be placed in various parts of a set, but that's also like often close to the end, and that's the kind of song where people, I don't know, I think you can almost see in the audience people start feeling good, and they like.
It has a nice gospel feel.
Yeah. And just so, and there's a great clip also from on your channel.
Yes, I like the one from Vienna. We played Blues Festival in Vienna.
Yeah.
And it's recorded with just an ordinary video camera, so the sound is sparse. But the playing is exquisite. I mean, it was Kjell on drums and you and Anders.
Yeah.
And when the last note is set, you hear the people, yeah!
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's nice.
And also, and there's another version from a place that don't exist here, Hijas.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yes, it's also good.
But speaking of Vienna, I mean, we have been on some adventures abroad.
Yes, not too many, but a few at least.
And they've been, I would say, some highlights.
Yes, definitely. I think Vienna was fine, and we also played in Spain. That was great, I think.
Cordoba,
we played in Cordoba Blues Festival. It was a huge square built around with ordinary apartment houses.
So let me just I'll put up a picture here so you'll see. But
people sat on the balconies and it was packed on the square. Yeah. And it was a huge PA, of course, and a huge stage. It was great, and it was great to experience the town Cordoba as well.
Yeah, and also, I mean, and I would say, and they've got a really nice not this one, but they have arranged for a really nice real B3 for me to play as well. So that was, wow.
I don't know how it come we got the gig, but I have a feeling you played a role in it, because the band that took us over there were Spanish people from the mayor of Cordoba played the guitar in the main act, and they brought us there, and especially I remember they asked me before the gig, the keyboard player, the organist asked me, "Are you going to play?" Vad fan heter den?
Oh, Don't Burn Down the Bridge.
Are you going to play Don't Burn Down the Bridge? Because I think you had an organ solo in that one at that time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we are, I said. Oh. But because he looked forward to playing it with his band.
Well, you never told me that before.
I didn't. I forgot to mention it. But they were really great fans of your musicianship.
Wow, thank you. So that's and okay. So because I think it's also I have two things that related to that. First, that version of Don't Burn Down the Bridge, we've seen other bands doing the Arnesen version.
I see, now that you're mentioning it, I remember, yes. It's a special arrangement. I like to pick standards and reshape them a bit in order to make them more, in my mind, more interesting.
Yeah. And so it's. I mean, that's really a sign of accomplishment, or that you've reached out. Yeah. Also, I think it's so interesting to. I mean, when you're in, always when you're like in your home country in Sweden, in our, it's like it's always safe in a way.
Yeah.
But when you come abroad, it's you never know I mean, you feel like, okay, now we'll try spread the wings and just see if we'll fly over there as well.
Yeah.
And I think we've flown at most places we've...
Yes, definitely. It's a very good band.
Yeah.
It is, and it's very... We are very close together. We know each other. So it's really... I say 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's there.
And also, I would say, I mean, that's the crucial part to on stage where you like when it's all there. But also, like a thing that helps that as well is that, like behind the scenes, after the gig and all that, there's it's a nice hang. It's always going in like if we're on tour, sitting in the car, you can always have nice conversations. Like socially, it's a really nice also when we're not playing as well.
Yes, it's very easy all the time. It is. And
I got some speaking of Cordoba, I think I have some really nice footage from I had my camera filming various not only on stage but you can clearly see the
it's a great comradeship.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of playing in Sweden and abroad, one thing I have learned to deal with, so to speak, is if I play here in Uppsala with some occasional band or something, sometimes people approach me afterwards and approach me speaking English. So where are you from? You play terribly good. Tack ska du ha. Thank you so very much. I reply then in Swedish, of course. And jaha, so you're not American then or English? That's funny. So where are you from? I'm from here. I'm from Uppsala. Here, I live in this city. You do? Well, you play rather good anyway.
Anyway.
That's a little bit strange, but I mean, what do you say in English? You're not a prophet in your hometown. Never.
But I would say, I mean, because I just felt, I just immediately thought of like this new, I think it's so nice, that new club that is opened where you play.
It's the first Saturday every month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And man, what a nice, it's also, this is, I mean, I like to with this different perspectives. It's, usually I'm used to seeing you from another part of the stage. I'm sitting one part of the stage, you another, we play together.
Yeah.
But here But I've heard, I went to 2 of those of the first shows.
Okay.
And so I've seen you, and it's so interesting to see, to get the outside perspective of someone that you're usually inside with.
Yes.
And it's, I mean, it's it's a joy watching you and hearing you there, because it's you get the feeling that that guy is in his element.
Yes, I am. It's really. We should perhaps explain a little bit what it's all about. It's an old friend of mine
that you mentioned.
That I mentioned, Ingmar Bergman, the former managing director of Polar Records, and also a drummer playing the drums, and has formed a group. He wanted me to be fronting that group and doing old British blues covers, which was the music I learned to play the guitar to. I learned every solo on every Jimi Hendrix solo, every Clapton solo, every Peter Green solo, Carlos Santana, and so on in the 70s. So that was my school, so to speak, before I turned over to and tried to learn jazz guitar as well. So it's very fun to play those tunes that that I listened to when I grew up, and it's really very not only fun, it's very easy as well. So it's fun in that way. It feels safe, so to speak. I know this as well. Yeah. So it's a joy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to do it in Cordoba.
No.
Okay. Because the Arnesen Bluesband is more. It's more like more grown-up entities, so to speak. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we strayed a little. I think it's time for a song. And so let's play a song from this. Record finally. Check it out. We'll have the links in the description. And we'll be playing the song Headin Downtown. And we'll see you in just a bit. And that was Heading Downtown from
today. From
today.
Your record.
This is our last segment of this show. Hope you're still with us. Now, I thought that also, I mean, we talked about the Arnesen Bluesband. We've talked about other things that we've done. But I would say also that, I mean, first of all, you have a career that spans many years before we first met.
Yes, yeah.
And you've been involved in several different things in over these last 20 years as well. So, yeah, just like, you know, is there something more like? Do you have any stories from?
Well, I should think I have a few. In the 70s, when I was 20 or so, I was mainly a rock guitarist. So I played with different Swedish pop artists and toured with them. And in Sweden, of course, and in Norway, and in Finland, and I was in Japan with a Swedish artist named Thomas Arnesen. That was in 74, I think. I still had a lot of hair. And then I began to play with various Swedish jazz artists.
But yeah, can I just jump in there, because when I speak to people here in Sweden and I mentioned, I play with Thomas Arnesen, a band that is almost always mentioned is Panta Rei.
Yeah, that was my rock group which existed from 72 to 75 or something like that, I think. Yeah, we broke up, which was mainly my fault. I wasn't a very good band leader in those days. As I've learned all along the way, you learn. But that was a rock group. We did strictly original compositions, which were quite complicated. I remember one tune I had adapted from a Robert Schumann piano piece called Knecht Ruprecht, and it's the piece is about an old soldier telling his stories to admiring listeners. It goes and so on in a romantic piano way. So I adapted that as, for instance, to electric guitars and bass and drums, which sounded fairly impressive, I would imagine. We made a record on EMI when was that? Must have been 74, 75, and after that record we split up. We got there was conflicts. There were conflicts. Yeah, but then I began to try to learn how to play jazz. Standard jazz tunes, and got very interested in that. So eventually I ended up with the organ player we've talked about, Kjell Öhman, and his organ grinders when could that be? In the 90s? Yeah, 80s, 90s.
Like so, when Hammond started to make a revival, when the Hammond organ became, it's been quite. No one played the Hammond in the 80s, and then like in the
that's right.
Late 80s, early 90s, got this revival. Yeah,
that's right. Revival from. I mean, in the 70s. Was it in the 70s when you could hear Jimmy Smith and what's the other fellows?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the great era of those guys were the 60s.
60s, 70s, yeah.
Even the 50s, like Jimmy Smith made his debut in the 50s.
Okay.
And then and you have the Jimmy McGriff and Jack McDuff and Richard Groves, those guys, and 60s and also, I mean, all the way into the 70s, and probably they played a whole lot in the 80s as well, I think, but still it wasn't the hype.
No,
was gone,
you
got the synthesizers.
You didn't hear them on the radio.
No,
at all.
Yeah.
No. But so anyway, I began playing with the organ player Kjell Öhman in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, somewhere like that. And we toured a great deal in Sweden, and we were to India for I think 3 weeks. Yes, it was 3 weeks, and that was a tour from hell. Someone had thrown darts on the map, and that was where we played. We began in Calcutta, and then we played one gig there. When it turned out that the tall customers had broke down the Leslie cabinets because they thought we were smuggling gold, so it was totally torn to pieces. But we managed to put it back again, and did the first concert in Calcutta, and then we went to New Delhi, I think. So it's one concert, sleep, flight, New Delhi. And on that concert, they had torn the organ apart during the freight. So we found some sort of an electrician in New Delhi who mailed after a scheme of the B3 Hammond, the wiring, and he managed to put it together again. And then we went to... Then we went to Manipur, which is on the border to what was in those days called Burma. And we would have a concert on a great military base, and outside. And they had, in order to feed the Hammond organ and the Leslie with enough currents and the right voltage, they had drawn a line. They had put a line from the town, and the town was darkened in order to feed us with electricity to that military camp. So there were cords and lines and electric cables lying in the grass with huge instrument with pointers that said and so on. So anyway, that was great. It was a memory, definitely. And afterwards, we were invited to the officers' mess to have dinner and to have drinks. Of course, in those days, that part of India was Muslim. So they didn't really have alcohol, but they did on the officers' mess, because they had gone to, as they put it, to the dark side to buy some liquors. And so on. And they gave us gifts. We had blankets, and we apologized dearly because we hadn't thought of bringing any gifts ourselves. And the colonel, he replied, "But that's all right, because you gave us the guns from Bofors."
So the Swedish weapons manufacturer would, okay.
And they wanted us to sing a song, a Swedish song, which we did. We sang in Swedish, "Herregud har gott att vara." This is a blessed place to be. That was the whole tour was totally chaotic, and the Hammond, it lasted one more gig, I think, and then it was just a big maracas. So Kjell Öhman had to play the piano for the rest of the tour. But he's also a great piano player, so it was okay. But I mean, you have some memories from India.
Nice. But yeah, I got some. It's some reflections of. But first of all, going back to Panta Rei, is that available somewhere online if people would want to hear that? Do you know that?
Yes, I think so. I don't know whether it's on. I don't know where, but I think it is.
Somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Panta Rei, which is Greek and means everything's floating. Yeah.
And your stuff with Öhman Organ Grinders, of course, you can hear that on Spotify and those kinds of. Yeah. Also, you mentioned that that you had like the song built from that. What did you say?
Robert Schumann.
Yeah.
Piano piece.
And I remembered because we did a recording session 15 years ago, I think. And let's see if I can remember the title of this song. Seemingly
Trapped Under Arches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a tune based on like Satie.
Yes,
Eric Satie.
yes, on one piano piece of Eric Satie from the collection Gymnopédie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's 2 major 7 chords.
And that was a really nice tune as well. Did you know what happened with those recordings?
I have them in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, and nothing more happened.
But okay, so would you mind if I put that one seemingly, if I put it as a little background just on our conversation here when I edit the video, would that be okay?
That would be okay.
Yeah. Because I remember that, and it was such a nice tune. Partly because I love those gymnopédies, the Satie music, and then also the things that weren't Satie, like how it's the bridge and all that.
Yeah. I'm pretty pleased with it myself.
Typical Arnesen composition in a way, I would say. But in a way that it feels like you.
It does.
But it doesn't sound like it has the Arnesen feel. That's
okay.
Yes.
Great.
And that's a good feel.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
But that leads me also to because you like speaking of piano-based things that then are translated to guitar and so, but you started off on the piano, right?
Yeah, that was my first instrument. I was 5 years, I think, when I started playing the piano.
Yeah.
And to the communal, the music school.
Yeah, in the local municipality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, it's maybe not that often, but you do play the piano in some,
When I think I can. I mean, I don't practice piano.
No.
I don't practice piano, but what I got from when I was 10, 15 years, it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked up the guitar when I was 13 because I had begun listening very much to blues and I was playing a lot of piano boogie as well. I had a record with a Swedish guy, Charlie Norman, who was famous, in Sweden at least, a famous boogie pianist on, vad heter det, 78 round per minute.
Okay, yeah.
Stone Cake?
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah, maybe. I mean, the early records, which would break easily. And I had one with Charlie Norman, a boogie record. And I had one with Billy Pepper and the Pepper Pots.
Okay.
Also, that was piano boogie.
Yeah.
And one with Jelly Roll Morton.
Okay.
Piano boogie. Or piano rags. And my father managed to sit himself down on them when I laid them in his favorite comfy chair. So they broke.
Okay.
But anyway, I played a lot of boogie when I was a kid, piano boogie. And of course the classical stuff, which you would learn on the lessons.
But so that's, I mean, it's interesting also because I did I did a similar journey for starters because I would play.
Yeah, you played guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was playing the piano like at that age, middle school, like ages. Yeah, I think I was 12. But then about when I was 13, 14 something, and I kind of got tired of it. I didn't. Yeah, there weren't any. I didn't get any good music to play on the piano. So and at that time, so here from my part, that was the late, early, like 80s, 90s, the early 90s, or just in the shift there. And then you have this. I would listen to heavy metal, and death metal was out. That was when that genre was at its peak, I would say. And so I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to play hard rock, heavy metal, death metal. I growled in a band, and that was. I mean, so when we had that band, when you have the band, that is the thing that is the most important thing in your life by far. It's the band.
Yeah.
So with the guitar, that's what when I had my first, like, maybe genuine musical experience in that way, that also how you and how you together with others, how you create and do something, and But then a couple of years later, I felt like drawn back to the piano, because I always felt more comfortable and at home with a keyboard and not the strings. So, and it was like the boogie woogie and that kind of style that like brought me back, and I was, oh, this is cool. And I started taking lessons again, and I got this teacher who was a jazz pianist, and then I got this input that I've never got before. That was like, yeah, wow, okay, this is
interesting.
This is the stuff, yeah. And then just a couple of years later, or not even that, I heard the Hammond for the first time, and then of course, then I didn't have to think anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
But but you stayed with a.
Yes, I did, because mainly I picked up the guitar because I wanted to learn playing in different keys on the keyboard. But I found it so hard compared to playing the guitar. Just move the guitar and you had B flat instead of A major. Yes. So it was indolence, so to speak. Mainly in the beginning. Yeah. But then of course, I have experienced that the guitar is it's quite hard anyway, so to speak. I mean, when you take a note on the piano, you just bank down the key and it's there. And when you take a note on a guitar, you have to hit it fairly good, and you have to press the finger at the same time. So those are two moments who sometimes are hard to put together, especially if you make leaps. I mean, if you play an arpeggio on the piano, I mean, it's impossible on the guitar. For me, I would add. But I think this is nice, because it also leads me to the, like, I think we're about to wrap this whole thing up. So first of all, I just want to thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you for having me here today. Always nice. Always nice playing. Always nice hanging and chatting. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And we have one song left. And and again, I will try to put all relevant information, links, and so forth
in the description, so you can find out more like about Thomas and the things we've been talking about. But also, I thought I'd end this with a story that relates to what we've just been talking about. And this is like our first recording session in 2003 in the south of Sweden. Yeah. And we were at the studio doing things, recording and stuff. And this was at the end of, I don't know how many days we were there, but like we've been working the whole day. And I should point out, this is how I remembered it.
Okay.
But yeah, and trying out different songs, and some work, some not. And it's often kind of a frustrating, because you never know while you're there, you never know how good it will be. It's hard to tell. But anyway, we're about to, I think, wrap that day up, and it's like, oh, everyone's just tired, and let's just go to sleep and start a new day tomorrow. But then, for some, I don't know whether it was planned or not, but maybe we should do, and just like, we could try a Key to the Highway, and you just sat down at the piano. Or they had a grand piano there, and and started playing Key to the Highway, and it was, I remember seeing that and hearing that, how just wow, how the music, how it just flows, like, because for me it was okay. Now it's sitting there and doing, just because you're playing guitar the whole day, and speaking of playing the piano, that was really a moment when I wow. Now, like, that's really nice piano playing, and that tune, like that version, I really like that version of that you do.
It's turned out well.
One of the highlights of that.
Yes.
So that song has really, that has, it's been a favorite song of mine, and it's much, or for not to say all, thanks to you. So and we did just a spontaneous version of that earlier today.
Yeah.
Key to the Highway. So I thought that would be a nice way to round things off.
It would.
And get us back to maybe where we started. So thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching. If you like it, of course, as usual, comment, like, share, subscribe, all that. There'll be more episodes of this guest at the HQ. And today's guest, of course, Thomas Arnesen. Thank you so much. See you soon. And here's Key to the Highway.
Thank you. Bye.